Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Basketball we have for you today. A lot to talk about. Lots been going on, especially in recent nights with Big Ten basketball. So we'll start with the Gavitt games. The Big East is 4-0 against the Big Ten in the first two nights. 4 more games to be played. I'm sure you guys want to talk about the Michigan game last night. Seton Hall upsetting Michigan. The other games, Marquette upsets Illinois, Providence over Wisconsin, and Creighton over Nebraska. So what do you guys have to say about these games?
Well, I know Mike thought the Big Ten was going to go 8-0 because he said it on the last podcast. But I just obviously Michigan losing to Seton Hall is inexcusable. Illinois being upset by Marquette, they should have won the game, but they're missing Coburn. That's one of those games where I feel like early in the year, not too big of a deal. Creighton beating Nebraska is just not a shock. I mean, Nebraska sucks, and Creighton's not great this year, but they're probably bottom half tournament team.
They're better than they were last year.
Yeah, and then this Providence Wisconsin game is an embarrassment. They're not terrible.
They're terrible.
Who's terrible?
Creighton.
Creighton's better than they were last year. I like their team more. They're more balanced. They play more defense. That Hawkins kid's really good.
LH14 has them 6 in the Big East.
That's a good take when they're going to go 5-15 in the Big East, Mike. I'm sure that'll look
No,
good.
I mean, he's a D2 transfer. He's won everywhere he's been. He had like 37 in the D2 national championship last year.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
And of course, 5 games in the Big East.
Alex O'Connell's a good player. They're a good team.
Yeah,
really good team. Yeah.
The Wisconsin loss is inexcusable for Wisconsin. Providence is horrible.
Well, the Big East has gotten very lucky in the fact that in 3 of the 4 games, the Big Ten, the best player on the Big Ten's team wasn't playing. Wisconsin was without Johnny Davis. No Cockburn for Illinois, and then McGowan's got hurt for Nebraska.
And it's looking like he might be out for the year. They're saying he broke his foot.
Yeah, he'll be out for at least a couple months, and he might be out for the whole year. So, obviously not an ideal start for the Big Ten, but I think they'll get it back to 500 quite easily. When you're looking at the games, I don't see another Big East win here the rest of the way.
Well, you didn't see it in the first
and you got to keep in mind the Big East has never won this thing. The Big Ten always wins it, or ties it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go over the other games before I talk about Michigan. Inexcusable loss for Illinois. I don't care that Kofi Cockburn didn't play. Marquette's one of the worst teams in the Big East. I don't care if you're without your best player. You still need to beat them.
No, you don't.
What?
Michigan had their best player. They lost.
Yeah, I'll get to Michigan in a second. Illinois, that's an inexcusable loss. Cannot have that. The Providence-Wisconsin game. Maybe one of the worst basketball games I've ever watched. Providence, they're not great. Wisconsin, pretty bad as well. And I know they didn't have Davis. That might change the game. But yeah.
Well, you got to look at it this way. Cockburn averages 17. They lost by 1, so Illinois would have won by 16 if they had him. I don't know how many points Johnny Davis averaged. I mean, he's probably going to average 10 to 15 a game. So Wisconsin would have won that game by around 7 to 10 points with him. McGowan's he was up there in the 12 to 15 range. So Nebraska would have won that game. So really, it should be 3 Big Ten, 1 Big East right now.
Interesting take.
No, it's just how it works. That's how it works.
Both Providence and Wisconsin are going to have to catch some breaks to even be on the bubble. So,
yeah, well, I told you Wisconsin's not good. So,
Creighton over Nebraska, I don't really care. Nebraska sucks. Creighton also sucks. So, whatever. This Michigan game, start for Seton Hall. I was telling you guys all week, Seton Hall is a really good basketball team. They're very underrated. Probably the 4th best team in the Big East.
You know what I think happened? I have a new theory. What happened? Juwan Howard got paid. He got his extension, and he stopped caring. I think that's what happened.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, tough game. Seton Hall will probably be in the top 25 next week. The game will probably it might end up
Yeah,
being
because they will be because they overreact so bad this early. They'll be in the top 10 next week.
Yeah, I think Seton Hall. This game will probably be a quadrant one game when it's all said and done.
All right.
Jared Roden, all Big East type of player.
You think they're a top 25 team in
They
the
got
net?
Bryce Aiken off the bench. He can definitely score the basketball. Miles Kale blows, but yeah, it's a really well coached team. They're very good on defense. As for Michigan, Michigan is not an NCAA tournament team. I told you guys after their scrimmage against Wayne State that they were not going to be as good as people were saying. And they're even worse than I thought. They're very good on defense. I'll give them credit. They're a very good defensive team.
Are you kidding me? You know how many wide open threes they let up yesterday?
Yeah, that was the game plan because they have.
That was the game plan?
Seton Hall doesn't have a lot of outside shooting.
All right. Well, and Dickinson blows on defense
Dickinson,
too. So.
I was just about to say that Dickinson is probably the weak link in the starting lineup on defense. He needs to be better. He basically needs to get in the weight room. Is what he needs.
Can't rebound either.
Nope. If you have a guy that is over 6'11", he will out rebound Dickinson, no matter how strong he is.
I don't know. I think Marble could out rebound him.
All right. I think
Or
Seton
Kithier.
Hall has a legitimate defensive and rebounding big guy, which if you have that, you can slow down Dickinson. Seton Hall did a good job doubling the post. They couldn't get the ball Dickinson down there in the second half. If it wasn't for Eli Brooks, Michigan probably loses this game by 45 points. I bailed them out the entire game, passing, shooting, whatever. Devontae Jones is horrible. I don't know. I'm actually starting to question if he actually played basketball when he was at Coastal Carolina or if he was on the club team or something because he is awful. He has no basketball IQ. He loves to turn the ball over, and he can't shoot. I don't understand how this guy averaged 25 points a game or whatever he averaged at Coastal Carolina. I don't get it.
And he fouled out.
He loves to foul. The guy loves fouling. For a supposed great defender. Caleb Houston is the worst freshman I've ever seen. Number 6 overall recruit. He can't.
I don't know. Eli Brooks existed. You know that, right?
It wasn't great, but Caleb Houston, he can't shoot. That's what he's supposed to be able to do. He can't do any. He really can't do anything. He's a decent defender. That's pretty much it. If he makes one open shot last night, Michigan wins. But yeah, I mean, right now, I don't know if this is going to change, if they're going to get better. But right now, at this stage of the college basketball season, in November, 3 games in, Michigan is not an NCAA tournament team. They should not be ranked. Right now, they're the number 14 team in the Big Ten. This is an embarrassing performance. This roster is horribly constructed because currently they have one player who can shoot the basketball from 3. And it's a fifth-year team.
Dickinson.
Yeah, Dickinson. So this team is an embarrassment right now. They need to consider relocation unless they figure it out. But I don't think they're going to because this is a horribly constructed roster.
How do you relocate a university?
Yeah, they just need to relocate the university.
Listen, it's still early. You don't take a whole lot of these November games. Michigan State lost to Virginia Tech a couple years ago. We all overreacted to that. They ended up being fine. Michigan loses sometimes early. They lost to LSU the year they made the Final Four. All right, it's still early. A lot of things can happen. Michigan is a very talented basketball team. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I mean, it's still early. It's even early to tell that, but
not even close.
Because here's the thing, Mike Smith, he was a good passer, pretty good shooter. Devontae Jones doesn't seem to be able to do anything.
He's horrible.
And then you got Wagner, who, as bad as he was in the tournament, he had a pretty good season. And Houston's gotta be a solid replacement. He doesn't have to be great, but he's got to be decent. He struggled, but freshmen are going to struggle early on. They got to get used to the speed of the game. I mean, it's way faster than it was in high school or AAU. They got to get used to that. They got to get used to playing defense, getting their legs under them, ready to shoot. Bigger crowds than they're used to. You don't take a whole lot out of this game. You really don't.
Listen, I mean, their starters that they lost Livers, Wagner, and Smith, all great shooters, and they replaced them with 3 guys who right now can't shoot the ball. So that's their problem.
Yeah, I saw some Michigan accounts say that Nunez should have been in the game for the final shot.
Oh yeah.
He's a very good shooter.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one other thing I have to say. In today's game, when all the coaches got together and decided, you know what, we're not gonna dress formally. If you still do, you're a fucking asshole. Kevin Willard is a fucking asshole. That's all I have to say.
Maybe, but he is one of the best coaches in the country.
He's also an asshole. You make the other coach look like an idiot.
No, but like I somewhat agree with you. But you either have to come in like the school quarter zip and like a nice pair of slacks, or you have to go like all out not Tony Bennett, Jay Wright 3-piece suit. There's no in between.
Fair enough.
You have to either go all in.
It's just it looks so strange because you don't see it anymore, really.
Okay. Ohio State beats Niagara and Bowling Green. This segment is really for Luke to talk about his team.
Listen, Chris Holtman scheduled a tough schedule this first 3 games.
Oh yeah.
The first 2 games were a little concerning, but this game against Bowling Green, I thought was fantastic. Absolutely dominated from start to finish. 5 guys in double digits for points. Finally starting to get some players back. Mike and I were arguing about this last night, 2 nights ago. This Ohio State team is better than last year's Ohio State team. When watching, it's
not even close.
It is. It's way better. They look better. If you watch this team, it
look
looks
better against
than
Akron
last year.
Yeah.
Listen, Akron's a good team. Akron's that's an in-state rivalry, so it's a rivalry game.
Who did Akron beat? They beat Point Park 102-46.
Point Park, another great team.
They play Wheeling Jesuit tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm surprised Chris Holtman hasn't scheduled Point Park, to be honest.
Oh, they play Fordham.
Oh,
but given I think this team maybe is not. This team's going to be better. I don't know if they're better right now, but they're going to be better. And the ceiling for this team is through the roof. And Malachi Branham looks fantastic. Michi Johnson Jr. looked good. Eugene Brown looked good. I mean, Mike shits on Jamar Wheeler, but this guy filled up the stat sheet. He was making all the plays on offense, and he's supposed to be a defensive guy. And then we still waited. Justice Suing was out. Seth Towns was out. I mean, this is the best Ohio State team we've had since Dad Bottle.
Well, the best Ohio State team that they've had was the year they had the kid who averaged like 30 a game. What was his name?
Cater Bates Diop.
That was their best team. They have not reached that level. They haven't reached that point in the tournament either. It's either been last year,
the second round,
or their second round, and
the second round we lost to Gonzaga in the second round.
Yeah, that wasn't a great Gonzaga team, but still a respectable loss. Listen, here's the thing: I like Ohio State. Are they as good as last year? No, for a couple reasons. Number one, the law of averages says that Ohio State is not going to be a 2 seed in the tournament.
Make sense.
Just even if they are a better team, the law of averages says they're going to lose some games that they won last year.
No. I would genuinely agree, because I think we overperformed last year. Our record and where they see us overperformed. But this team, and I don't think the NCAA is going to have as many teams this year that are equal when it comes to first, second, third seeding. I think there's going to be a separation between the top teams and then the next level. But this Ohio State team, Mike, is going to have a better record than last year. They're going to probably be a 3 seed in the tournament.
No, because their non-conference schedule's harder. They're not going to have a better record. They got some tough games.
Harder than last year? Are you kidding me?
I mean, I don't know I can't remember who they played last year, but whatever. Here's the thing. I mean, Ohio State, they're a good team. They're the fourth, fifth, around that in the
That's
Big Ten.
ridiculous.
They are nothing special. The talent wise, they're not up there in terms of teams in the Big Ten. They've got a high floor, but I don't think their ceiling's that high. I think they got a lot of really good players. I don't think they have the one player that can really take them over the top. Because here's the thing: Liddell's a great player. He's a little undersized. He's not the most. He is dominating at times, but there are things you can do to kind of stop him. I think Zed Key's the key there. No pun intended. He's going to be the key because he's going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups, and he's going to have to win those. But I mean, they're going to have to get a lot out of Seth Towns if they want to reach their true potential. And obviously it's not been looking great for him because he never stays on the floor. And Branham Kitty, he's a freshman. He's shown some signs, but he's still a freshman. You can't count a whole lot on him this year. To me, it just looks like Ohio State has a bunch of really good pieces, but they aren't. No one on their team is going to scare you a whole lot when you play them. I mean, they're going to have a lot of guys that they're going to be depth. They're going to have a ton of depth. They're going to be able to bring in a ton of guys. But there's not that one guy at the end of the game that you're scared of with the ball. I mean, Jamari Wheeler taking the last shot.
That's what I've been saying. Dwayne Washington, doesn't matter how bad he was against Oral Roberts, was a great closer for them last year. So that's a big loss. All right, Mike, it's not in the thing, but do you want to say anything about Michigan State's win over whoever they played, Western or whatever?
Oh, of course I do. This was a big win because I thought Western was going to win. And, you know, when you doubt your team and they overcome the doubts, you know, it was a good thing. We didn't shoot the ball great, but we completely and totally dominated the glass, which is something you need to do. And we were able to make layups, and, you know, a lot of guys were able to play. I'd like us to kind of get Max Christie more shots. I know he's been struggling early. He's kind of like in the Houston thing. He's struggling shooting the ball, but we got to give him more chances to shoot the ball. You know, he only shot the ball 8 times in a game. When you're up 40, you got to get your guys going a little bit. And I don't know if Tom's done a great job of that this year. I mean, he doesn't do a great job of much at this time. But, you know, we're going to have to see how we play tonight. This is the biggest game of Tom Izzo's tenure tonight. So we're going to see how Michigan State comes out.
Okay. What do you guys have for your current Big Ten power rankings, 1 through 5?
Number 1, I have Purdue. Number 2, I have Ohio State. Number 3, I have Michigan. Number 4, I have Illinois. Actually, no, I'll go Purdue, Michigan, Ohio State, Illinois. And then probably Maryland or Indiana. Maryland and Indiana are right around the same level right now for me.
I have 1, I have Illinois with Cockburn. 2, I have Purdue. 3, I have Michigan. 4, I have Indiana. And 5, I have Maryland.
Indiana sucks. Give me a break.
I love Indiana. Again, I can't get enough of Indiana.
You just can't get off of them. Yeah.
Well, thank God we don't play there. We usually play there every year on the road, but we don't actually play there anymore, or this year, which is good.
Yeah, all right. Purdue is 1.
Finally, what's his face left, so I don't have to root for him anymore.
I have Purdue 1, Maryland 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan State 4, Illinois 5. Okay. So there were some big games over the weekend. Gonzaga handles Texas, and UCLA and Villanova play a thriller. And UCLA comes out on top. Anything to take away from these games?
I was not surprised about the Gonzaga Texas game. This Texas team, I think, will be good by the end of the year, but I think they're going to have some struggles at the beginning of the year. And that's just because they have a new coach. They just everything about the Texas team to me just screams struggle at the beginning of the year. And this Gonzaga team obviously is not going to struggle at the beginning of the year because they never do. Mark Few always has them ready to go. They have mostly the same team from last year. I know they had a couple guys leave, but the core remains the same. And then the thing I will take away from this UCLA team is I thought this UCLA team, and they still might be, was grossly overrated. And the only reason they were rated high was because they made a run in the tournament. But I mean, this UCLA team might be legit. They might be legit.
They're ranked high because they made a run in the tournament. Yeah, is that not how it should work? They were a half-court bullshit bank three away from going overtime against the number one team in the country.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that I thought the fact that they were ranked high was not because people were actually looking at their team. It was because they just saw they made a run in the tournament. Should VCU have been ranked in the top 4 the year after the shock that took them to the Final Four, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with UCLA, and why I think they're one of the best teams in the country is yes, they made a run in the tournament, but they returned everybody and more. They had guys who went down with injury last year. They're coming back. They got Miles Johnson, great player, great big man, guy you can bring off the bench, stiff, big body, exactly the type of guy you need in a Mick Cronin system. And then Tiger Campbell. He's been pretty good this year. And then, of course, you got your star players. You got, what's his name? Juzang and Hawkes. I mean, those guys, that's one of the best wing combos you can have in the country. And Jules Bernard can shoot the rock. So UCLA, I think they're one of the best teams in the country. I believe that. I really do. I believe that at the start of the year, I think Gonzaga is the best team in the country, and I think this is their year. I think they ran into a buzzsaw last year in Baylor, but I think they're learning. They're slowly learning how to win in the tournament. Each year they go just a little bit farther, it seems like, in the tournament every year. And this year they're going to win the championship. Do I think they're as good as they were last year? Probably not as good, but they're still pretty damn good. I mean, they might not defend as well, but they shoot the ball well. They got Drew Timme, who's probably the best player in college basketball right now. Unstoppable. And they're talented. And can't really say the same about Texas. Obviously, they're not going to play their best basketball early on, but I don't think they have a great fit, a team that really fits together that well. And I don't think they have, they got a bunch of great transfers, but these transfers, a lot of them were Timmy Allen, Utah transfer. He's good, but he's not great. Same with Marcus Carr. The problem with Marcus Carr is he's just a stat stuffer, and he's going to have to be a lot better than that this year. He's going to have to really orchestrate the offense. So
he's like that guy Marquette had a couple years ago.
Marcus Allen.
No, not Marcus Allen.
Howard.
Marcus Howard, where he somehow scored like 30 points a game on 28% shooting.
Yep, that's Marcus Carr for you, or Carson Edwards. So, Texas, we'll see. They're going to have to figure some things out. I don't think they got a real great big man that can really bolster the middle. And then Villanova, they're all right. They're all right. I'm not a big fan of Villanova.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Gonzaga game. I think we were all on this. Texas is going to struggle early. To me, Mike is correct in saying they don't have a legit big guy. The biggest guy is Trey Mitchell. He's only 6'9". He doesn't even start.
He's not even a big guy. He's more of a forward.
I know, yeah. Their biggest starter is 6'7", and it's Christian Bishop, who's really like a 3-4.
That is a team that Michigan would house.
Yeah.
They just give it to Dickinson, and he just get 25.
Yeah, it's going to depend on matchups for Texas probably, unless they can figure something out. But I still like them a lot. Timmy Allen's probably their best player. He had a great game in this game. Ramey, Jones, Carr. They just have a really talented roster. Gonzaga, though, as Mike said, probably the best team in the country right now. Drew Timmy's the best player in college basketball.
Well, you really know they are when Chris admits it.
Yeah, I mean they were good last year. UCLA. I was with Luke, overrated, but I think I'm off that now. This proved to me that they're a legit team.
I'm not off it. I just want to say, so if they start losing games, I will be right on their ass.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Juzang, whenever you have Juzang and Hawkes, 25 and 21 on Villanova's defense is just really impressive.
Let's not act like Villanova's some great defense.
They're a really good defensive team.
Well, they have too many white guys in their starting lineup. They have one too many.
Do they have one?
Yeah, they have one too many.
So yeah, a good win for UCLA. Villanova, really, I thought played a better game the whole game until like the last 3 minutes. So I do expect Villanova to be the better team by the end of the year. But UCLA, they're a top 10 team for sure. At home, obviously. But yeah, it was a great game. Colin Gillespie is one of the best players in the country. Him and Juzang going back and forth was really fun to watch. They'll probably be two of the finalists for the Wooden Award. So yeah, two good games.
Well, Foster lawyers up there.
No, of course. How could I forget? Okay, pick a game to talk about we did not discuss.
All right. There's not a game I want to talk about, but I want to just touch on a conference, and that's the WCC, the West Coast Conference. This conference, it's unbelievable how good they are this year. But they have 5 teams that I think, if put in any other mid-major conference, wins the conference, and they're all in the WCC this year. This could be they've had multi-bid years in the past, but they could get. Chris is going to laugh at me. They could get 3 or 4 bids in the tournament this year.
They might get to.
Santa Clara's off to a great start.
Santa Clara has beaten Nevada and Stanford already, 2 good wins. St. Mary's is always good. They're off to a 3-0 start. BYU just absolutely destroyed Oregon last night. They also have a win over San Diego State. San Francisco is off to a 4-0 start and has a top 30 KenPom rating. And then you have Gonzaga. 5 teams that have a legit shot. I think if this goes into if these 5 teams stay as good as I think they're going to be going into the conference tournament, it's going to be one of the. First of all, the WCC has one of the worst design conference tournaments of all time. But these 5 teams going into that conference tournament,
it's a great design. It's a great design.
Not when you have 5 teams that have a shot at it.
Yeah, it's a good design for like the America East when you want to get your top teams in the tournament. It's a terrible design if you're a multi-bid league.
This conference is worth watching down throughout the year.
Yeah, I'll talk about this Florida State game. I think Florida is one of my teams now. Obviously early on in the year, I wasn't really sure who my teams are going to be. Usually I have them by the preseason, but I've kind of let it play out a little bit. Florida is one of my teams. I really like Florida. And I knew Florida State might be a little overrated. Everybody says they win this game every year, which is true. But they have a lot of people they gotta try to replace. But my guy Colin Castleton, I mean, I cannot believe Michigan just decided to get rid of him. He's one of the best players in the country. He's 60% from the field, 16, 17 a game, 10 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He's dominating. He's dominating a pretty good slate of games that Florida's playing. And Florida State, Elon, a great team. And they got a tough matchup against a Milwaukee team that has a great player, the coach's son. So, Florida, they got rid of some dead weight from last year, some transfers, and this is really the Mike White team that we've all expected.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this Farmington, Maine game. Obviously, half of this podcast was in attendance at this game. Yeah, I mean, just a really strong.
Of course, half. Yes.
Yes, it was. It was half. A statement win for the University of Maine. Dare I say this is one of the best teams in the country after this win. I mean, this was really impressive. I will say this: Maine's supposed best player, Steven Ingo, is one of the worst players I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy is, what is he, 6'8", 6'9", something like that?
He was hurt.
Oh, that
He
prevented
didn't
him
play.
from.
He didn't play in the Colorado game.
Okay, well, that prevented him from going 6 for 16 on all layups against Farmington.
Farmington's
So
got that big guy who had like 5 blocks.
Oh yeah, the big guy. Let's see. Yeah, he was 2 for 3. He had 6 points. Duhart, Mike was telling me about how great of a shooter he is. Was terrible from deep in this
Struggled
game.
against Colorado too.
Terrible against Colorado. But yeah, I mean, Maine, they're building something. They're probably going to win the America East. All right, I didn't have this in here, but quickly, we've seen a lot of things go different ways to start the season. What's the best conference in college basketball?
WCC. No, the best conferences. I don't think there are a ton of great conferences or any conferences that stand out from the pack this year.
That's why I asked the question.
I know. Well, like last year, there were 2 or 3. I mean, the Big Ten was clearly the best, but after that, you had a couple conferences that you're like, oh, they're right there. But I don't think the ACC is that great this year. The Big 12 is usually pretty good, and I don't think they're that great this year. And partly that might be just because of all the parity there is this year, because of the 6-year players and stuff like that. But if you were forced me to pick one, I'd probably lean towards the ACC, or maybe the SEC. Maybe I'll go with the SEC. Out of left field, I'll go with the SEC.
No. I think college basketball is a lot more balanced this year. I mean, obviously it's early. We don't really know a whole lot, but I think it's a little bit more balanced this year compared to last year when he had a couple really good conferences and then just several atrocious conferences. I think it's a little more even. I look at the Big 12. No, I don't think really any team impresses me a whole lot. Baylor's probably the best team there. Kansas, I wasn't overly impressed with when we played them. I know they didn't have Jalen Wilson. I understand that. I'm still not that impressed with them. And I'm not impressed with Texas either. And besides that, what did they have? Not a whole lot. West Virginia, maybe. K-State, are they going to make a run? But no, I'm not going to pick the Big 12. Pac-12, you could say, because of their tournament success, maybe they're going to be solid this year, but Oregon just got blasted by BYU. And they're supposed to be one of the best teams there. Oregon State, tough start to the season for them, for Wayne Tinkle. 2 straight road losses at Iowa State, at Tulsa. So I'm not going to pick the Pac-12. ACC, it's a wait and see for me. I still don't think they're that great. They really were terrible last year. I don't buy into North Carolina. Obviously Virginia is not very good. I think we saw that last night. Florida State, I think, is not as good as they were last year or last couple of years. So, tough loss to Florida. I think Duke's by far the best team in that conference right now. Louisville is still a team you're not really sure. Big East, no, I can't pick the Big East just on principle alone. I still think the Big Ten's the best conference, although they're not nearly as good as they were last year. I still think the Big Ten's the best conference right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think the Big Ten's the worst of the Power 6 conferences this year. You look at the Pac-12. Wow. You got 3 or 4 ranked teams in the Pac-12. You still have, I think, Washington State's a really good team this year.
No, the Big Ten only has 3 top 10 teams.
Yeah, well, they all who is in the top 10? Purdue's the only
but
one.
I mean, 2 of them are going to be out of the top 10 next week. But
Purdue's the only one that deserves to be there. Purdue is probably the only Big Ten team that deserves to be ranked right now.
All right.
So
what about Indiana?
Yeah, the Pac-12. They're good. I think they're probably fifth on my list. But yeah, I mean, look at the ACC. I'm not really big on the ACC either. As Mike said, North Carolina has been a little shaky. Duke's pretty good. Virginia Tech is pretty good. I think Syracuse is pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna put the ACC fifth. The Pac-12 fourth on my list. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go. You probably go Big 12 third. I mean, you got the top teams, but the top three teams.
WCC second.
Maybe Texas Tech is an okay team, but after the top 3 or 4, I don't know if they have any other tournament teams. So that's a conference I'm not really high on. The Big East is probably second at this point because of what happened this week. Obviously, you got Villanova and UConn with your top teams. We think St. John's is good. We know Seton Hall is good now. We think Xavier's good. I mean, Providence had a good win. Marquette had a good win, and this is a much deeper conference than I think we thought. But yeah, Luke's right. The SEC is, but I think far and away the best conference.
All right, that's ridiculous.
I don't even think it's very close. There are 5 ranked teams right now. LSU, I think, is pretty good. Mississippi State.
It's a question between top end talent and depth because I think the SEC has the most depth.
It does.
Country.
I mean, the Big 12
I don't think
top talent, but it's.
I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Teams.
The SEC
what depth does the freaking SEC have?
They have 6 ranked teams right now.
Oh, I don't give a shit about the rankings. The rankings are all brand.
They also
the rankings are 99% brand at this point.
They also have LSU. They also have Mississippi State. I think
Alabama,
okay.
LSU.
All right.
Alabama,
I think Texas A&M is pretty good.
Auburn,
this is probably
Florida,
pretty good.
Mississippi State, Tennessee, Kentucky.
All right. Tennessee's awful. Kentucky's overrated like usual. Auburn, they're all right. Arkansas, they won't be as good as they were last year, just based on the law of averages alone. Alabama will be good, but they're still not amazing. I mean, yeah, it's like 4 or 5, 6 really good teams, and then the rest of the conference is just garbage.
No, there's 10 tournament teams in this conference. There are 10 tournament teams.
Missouri, horrible. South Carolina, atrocious.
Yep.
Georgia, atrocious. Vanderbilt, atrocious.
Yep. Everybody else is a tournament team after those 4.
Mississippi State is not a tournament team.
Yes, they are.
No way.
Yep.
I'm sorry. You can't have Mark Watts in your starting lineup. You can't.
They're a tournament team.
They're a tournament team.
No. A&M's a tournament team?
Yep.
All right. Give me a fucking break. If the Big Ten and the SEC had a challenge, the Big Ten would win 10-4.
No. Okay, the Big Ten's 0-4 against the Big East right now. So
yeah, I mean, well, you can't take that because the Big Ten doesn't take that seriously. Just like Michigan,
the Big East doesn't even have their 2 best teams in this.
Michigan doesn't take the Michigan State rivalry seriously, and the Big Ten doesn't take a mid-major.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. The Big East is far away better than the Big. The Big Ten sucks. I'm just going to say right now, the Big Ten
win the Gavitt games every time they play.
The Big Ten this year they suck. The Big Ten should be a 1-bid league this year.
You know how it works. If the Big Ten ties the Gavitt games goes back to the team that last won it. So the Big Ten. So if the Big Ten comes back and ties it,
tie it.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, and I tell you right now, the Big Ten should be a 1-bid league.
The law of averages says the Big Ten will win the next 4 games.
No, the Big Ten should be a 1-bid league. If somebody else beats Purdue in the Big Ten tournament, then it's a 2-bid league. The Big Ten is not.
Yeah, well, the Big East should be a 1-bid league at this point.
No, the Big Ten should be this year. It's horrible. These other teams suck. Michigan sucks. Ohio State sucks. Maryland sucks. Michigan State sucks. Illinois is horrible. It's just not a good conference.
You did a challenge between the SEC and the Big Ten. The Big Ten would win 10-4.
No, the SEC probably wins 11-3.
Big Ten wins 10-4 easily.
No. All right. Oh yes, great. We have a great segment here. We're going to pick the player of the year in each of the power conferences. All right. Let's start with the Pac-12.
Johnny Juzang.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. I got to go with Warith Alatishe of Oregon State.
Okay, interesting pick there. Yeah,
Chase Lucas of Oregon State. Those 2.
I'm gonna go with Will Richardson at Oregon.
Who?
Will Richardson.
Who the hell's that?
No, that's It's a you problem. All right, ACC.
Maybe I would go with what's his face from Duke, but now that he is probably going to jail, I can't pick him. So I'm gonna go with God, Jesus.
Who?
Maybe.
Oh.
Buddy Boeheim, I guess maybe.
I hope for the ACC's sake that doesn't happen. ACC.
Isn't he averaging like 25 points a game just up the year?
20. They played some good teams.
Chris, we have to pick the American in this too.
No. The American is dreadful this year.
Yeah,
In
well,
football and basketball.
we're talking the Big East. I don't know why we're talking.
Well, the
why
Big
we're-
East is 4-0 against the Big Ten right now. So,
Yeah, well, the American would be 4-0 against the Big East. So,
well, no, they wouldn't because the American has one good team.
no, that's ridiculous. I mean, I guess I'll go with it's a tough one because I don't think there's really a standout player in the ACC. Of course, you got Paulo DUI Boncaro. You got Wendell Moore, obviously. Caleb Love. He started out the year well. But I'll go down to Virginia Tech and my guy Kive Aluma. I think he'll have a big year.
Yeah, I'm going with Buddy Boeheim. So we're gonna add the American and the A10 to this actually. So we'll go to the American right now.
Yeah, in the American, I think it's clear who the best player in the American is, and that's Amoni Bates. I know according to Mike, he was supposed to go to Michigan State for the past 8 years, but
No,
he's at Memphis, and he's the best player probably in the country. Never mind the American.
Chris is going to love this pick. My guy, I think, is going to win the American Player of the Year is David DeJulius. averaging 13 a game for Cincinnati right now. I think he'll pick it up in conference season.
Yeah, it's gonna be Marcus Sasser from Houston. 23 a game right now.
It's going to be David DeJulius.
All right, the A10 Player of the Year.
The A10.
I don't know if I know a single person in the A10, to be honest with you.
That's ridiculous. You gotta follow up on the A10, Mike.
Let's see. Fordham. Who's on Fordham?
I'll make my pick first so you guys can think. I'm going with Foster Lawyer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I thought you said, where's Foster Lawyer? I thought you said he went to
He goes to David.
Oh, that's right. Well, for some reason I have it in my mind that he's at Detroit Mercy. I don't know why. But I just have it in my mind that he went to Detroit Mercy. The A10. I mean, Foster Lawyer is a good pick. He's the best player in the country, but that's he kind of you can't pick him because he's kind of everyone understands that he's winning all the awards, so you have to go to the next guy. And the next guy is probably. I mean, I'm literally just going through this list trying to find a player in the A10.
How about we make a pick?
Osun Osaniwi. That's who I'm going with.
From where?
From St. Bonaventure.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll go over to St. Louis because I bet them. So I watched a little bit of their game.
Listen, Osanini averaged 10 and 10 last year.
This guy Gibson Jimerson, he's a freshman, and he's really played well. I think he's going to win the Player of the Year. Although Foster Lawyer is not a bad pick at all.
All right, Big 12.
Um, I like that. Who's that kid from Texas?
Timmy Allen.
Yeah, I like him. I'm going with him.
This is I'm going with Mike Miles, TCU.
I'm gonna take Ochai Baji.
Give me a break. He's terrible.
Well, he's averaging 27 points a game right now.
Yeah, because he played against Michigan State. My left nut could get 27 against Michigan State in the non-conference season.
Okay, the Big East.
Oh, your guy from St. John's. Champagne.
Julian Champagny.
Champagne.
Champagne.
I would have went with who's that guy on Xavier?
Fremantle.
Would have went with him, but he's injured. So they just randomly usually give it to some Villanova player, but I'm not gonna be like that. I'll go with yeah, you know what? I'll pull the trigger on what's his name? Al Durham.
Okay.
He's averaging 14 a game. He's 6 points behind Nate Watson, but I think he'll be better by the end of the year.
I was just gonna say Nate Watson's my pick. Gillespie's probably gonna win it, but that's a boring pick. I'm taking
That's ridiculous. No, didn't the Big East have like 6 winners last year?
They had 3.
Oh my God. What a fucking joke. And they want to be treated like a power conference. Please.
It was Gillespie, the guy from Seton Hall, Mama Kalashvili.
He's still there?
No, he won it last year.
Oh, okay.
Who was the other guy? Somebody from Creighton, I think.
Doug McDermott.
Yeah,
it was the other guy at Villanova.
Setoransky, or what the fuck his name is?
No, it was the other guy at Villanova.
They had 2 winners from Villanova?
Yeah.
What?
Who was the guy who left?
Oh, the fucking Robinson Earl guy.
Yeah, Robinson Earl. That was the other one.
Give me a break.
Okay. The SEC.
Oh well, this one's easy. It's got to be Mike's guy who transferred to Mississippi State, Mark Watts.
Wouldn't put it past him.
No, I'll go with. No, I'm gonna go with. I could also go with Colin Castleton. I'll go with Kennedy Chandler for Tennessee, the freshman.
Yeah, don't
give it to freshman. Are you gonna go with him?
Don't steal my pick.
Colin
Castleton.
Yeah.
Colin Castleton, of course.
No, I'll go with the safe pick, Javon Quinterly from Alabama.
Yeah,
He's not even the best player in his team.
Yeah, Jaden Shackelford is the best player in Alabama, and he's going to win it. Okay, Big Ten.
It's got to be. Brad Davison's got to be a big one there.
What is this? 2017? Maybe.
Bohannon.
All right.
Joey Hauser. Joey Hauser.
I think Joey could have a big year if he learns how to dribble.
Geo Baker. That's another guy you could put on that team. I'm gonna go with Justice Suing.
Well, you got to pick the best player and the best team. It's gonna be Cockburn.
I will take the best player on the best team. I'm taking Jaden Ivey.
No. Jaden Ivey won't put up the stats that'll be needed for a big. No, he won't. They got 3 post players there.
Travion Williams will probably win it.
You got a chance.
Williams won't even start.
He's been playing them together. He's been playing Edie and
but Edie's been starting
all right,
because he knows Edie's a better player, but he has to.
Well, that's just because he wants to win the jump ball and get an extra possession.
You know what? That's a great point.
Okay, let's go to the picks. The standings here. Luke and I tied for first place at 20-9. Mike way behind to start the season in last
He
place.
picks
Yeah, because of the
D3
Ferris
teams.
State pick.
Yeah, exactly.
He's picking NAIA teams to win games here. So
No, the Division II actually.
All right, we'll start with Michigan State at Butler.
I'll take Michigan State.
Well, I've been saying it all day. I've been saying it the past couple of days, even the last week. This is the biggest game in Tom Izzo's tenure as head coach, Michigan State. You cannot go 1-2 to start the year, especially when you look at the games that we have to play later on in the non-conference, especially in the battle for Atlantis, which is probably the hardest non-conference tournament right now. And it's the least, you're at least going to have one loss there. You could at least count that. No doubt about it. So Michigan State has got to win this game. I think they're the better team. They're not the better coach team, but I think they're the better team. Much more talented team. Butler has a bunch of 7th, 8th year seniors, but they weren't good in their 6th year. So how are they going to be great in their 7th years? Michigan State by 10.
Yeah, I mean, I was originally leaning Butler. I think Michigan State's talent will win out here. This is going to be I think it'll be a dogfight, though. Low scoring in the 50s. I think Michigan State wins close.
And we're going to save the Big Ten.
Yeah. NC State and Oklahoma State, neutral site.
I'll take Oklahoma State.
Yeah, never pick against Kevin Keats in the month of November. I'm taking NC State.
NC State. Oklahoma State's done because of their penalty. St. John's at Indiana.
But I think this is going to be one of the best games of the Gavitt games. I really do. I'm going to take Indiana, but this is going to be a good game.
I think Indiana wins quite easily. I don't think St. John's is that good.
This is not going to be a good game. St. John's going to run Indiana out of the gym. St. Bonaventure and Boise State, neutral site.
I'll take St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't played great so far this year. Tough rivalry win against Canisius. This is a tough game, but you know what? I really think that St. Bonaventure will get it done. Boise State's usually a talented team every year out there, but Bonaventure's better.
St. Bonaventure. Ohio State at Xavier.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I'm going to take Xavier. Marquette at Ole Miss, neutral site.
I mean, Marquette coming off the big win. I don't know if that's going to help. That might help them. That might hurt them. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Ole Miss undefeated to start the year. I'll take Ole Miss.
I don't know anything about Ole Miss. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to score
90 points a game.
My guy Kermit Davis, but Shaka's my guy too. I got to go with Marquette.
I'm going to take Ole Miss. Rutgers at DePaul.
Yeah, Rutgers by 1 billion.
Rutgers wins. The Big Ten takes the Gavitt games because they tie it, and the championship goes to the team, the conference that won it last. So Big Ten and Rutgers.
Rutgers wins. Big East takes it 6-2. Although this would be the most DePaul win of all time to go out and kill Rutgers. And
do you imagine? It's 4-3 Big East and DePaul gets the win for the Big East to seal it.
I mean,
they actually tie the game. It goes to 4.5 to 3.5.
It would be the most DePaul win of all time to win this game.
In Rutgers, I mean, early on in the year, they
look terrible.
No, they've struggled offensively. This is a get-right game for them. I think DePaul is probably the worst team they've played so far this year, to be honest with you. I'm serious.
Arizona State at San Diego State.
I hate Arizona State. I really do. So I'm going to take San Diego State.
Tough game here. Here's the thing. I mean, Arizona State's got the talent, but something's off there. I don't know if it's a culture problem with
Yeah,
Bobby
it's Luther
Hurley.
Muhammad being a cancer in the locker room.
Luther Muhammad, he's a good player. I'm gonna go with San Diego State.
Yeah, I agree. There's something off with ASU. Saw it last year. Michigan versus UNLV. Neutral site. I guess it's in Las Vegas, but it's not on campus.
It's in Las Vegas playing at UNLV, but it's technically a neutral site game. It hurts the what's it called, Chris? It now won't be a quadrant 1 game. It'll be a quadrant 3 game.
I don't think it was going to be a quadrant 1 game anyways.
I'll take Michigan.
I don't know. They got Devin Kruger, or the fuck his name is. Lon Kruger's son.
I'll take Michigan.
Yeah, this is a get right spot for Michigan. I'll take Michigan.
I'm going to take UNLV.
By the way, how bullshit is that? Michigan gets a day off after that game for the next game. I mean,
Yes.
You got to be careful. Do not let your guys drive cars. Whatever you do.
Don't let them go to Top Golf and start taking shots.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure at least Xavier Simpson's not on the team. So at least your one bad driver's not there.
How about this game being played at 12:30 a.m.?
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. That's
I
a good
saw
thing.
that.
Yeah.
So it's a Friday night game.
Yes.
It's so the players can't go out late on the strip.
That's a good
This
point.
will be Friday night.
They can't go to the brothels after the game.
All right. Maine, Fort Kent at Maine.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Maine.
Chris, are we going to this game? It's another Friday tip.
Isn't it Saturday?
It's actually
I
at Fort Kent. It's
thought
at
it was
Fort
Friday.
Kent.
It's
Friday.
a bye game for Fort Kent.
Yeah.
Friday at 7 p.m. We're going to that game, right?
No.
Well, we gotta support our home team. I'm taking Maine.
If they stop scheduling Division III teams, then I'll go up and support them.
I'm taking Maine with the upset.
Yeah, I like Maine in overtime. Georgia Tech at Georgia.
Good Georgia Tech. Georgia might be the worst team in basketball.
Oh, one thing of note. I'm just looking at this right now, but it appears like that doubleheader with Central Con is not a thing anymore on main schedule.
Oh,
They might have. I think they scheduled Columbia instead,
great.
or maybe it's Quinnipiac. They've added
Love
a
to
game there.
At Quinnipiac?
It's at Quinnipiac. Yes.
Well, if they lose, that's a bye game for Quinnipiac. So
Yeah. Well, Quinnipiac's actually decent, so they got no chance. What was the game again? I wasn't even paying attention.
Georgia Tech at Georgia.
Oh, give me Jaw Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Wichita State at actually, this is a neutral site, right? Wichita State, Arizona. Yes, it is. It's the other game of the
It's
tournament
also
Michigan's in.
in UNLV. I'll take Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect from Wichita. Marshall hit one of his players. Now he's gone. They got a new guy in there. Not sure how he's going to do. Arizona's got a new guy too. I guess they'll go with the more talented team. At least what I think more talented team is. They'll go with Arizona.
I'll take Wichita State. They have the best player on the floor. Villanova and Tennessee, neutral site.
I lean towards Villanova.
Yeah. Screw Rick Barnes. He's a shit coach, and his team sucks. They're overrated again. They were overrated last year. Oregon State sassed them up in the tournament, and they're going to get destroyed by Villanova.
Okay. I'm going to take Villanova as well. Richmond at Drake.
Oh, what a game! I think I like Drake.
Are we picking the Tennessee game?
No.
Okay. As for this game, Richmond, they've had a couple solid seasons in a row.
Yeah, they
Um,
suck this year.
Yeah, they were going to be really good last year. I remember that.
And they didn't really.
They were really good last year. They got screwed. They would have made a run to the tournament if the committee
that's what
didn't feel the need to put Michigan State as the last team in because they thought it would be a good game to start the tournament. It would have been Richmond.
That was hilarious. I'm gonna roll with Drake here.
Yeah, I'll take Drake at home. North Carolina and Purdue neutral site.
Purdue.
Purdue easily. North Carolina sucks.
Purdue. Utah, Boston College neutral site.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What is this tournament?
I don't know.
It's got to have a name.
Sunshine Slam.
It's the Sunshine Slam. I'll take BC.
Daytona Beach. Oh boy. Could not have picked the worst place to have a tournament.
Mike,
I took BC. Yeah, BC.
Utah, Craig Smith, tenure, first year at Utah. I have high hopes for him. He's going to turn Utah basketball into what it's never been. And I just think BC is not very good. So I'll take Utah.
Yeah, I'll take Utah because BC sucks. Eastern Michigan at Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Now, of course, I'm an alarmist with Michigan State, as Chris is with Michigan. I think we've already saw that earlier. But I actually have concerns about this game because Eastern Michigan, they're not a terrible team. They really played Indiana tough, came back, almost won the game. They were a shot away from winning the game. And Illinois State, they beat it in double overtime. So, I mean, that's a good win for them. So they play Northern Kentucky tomorrow. So, I mean, that's a short turnaround for them, but I think it's going to be close. I think Michigan State pulls it off in triple overtime.
I'm going to take Michigan State.
By the way, any game on BTN Plus should be fucking shot in the regular season. What a joke.
Texas A&M and Wisconsin. Neutral site.
Wisconsin.
Man. Wisconsin blows in the non-conference every year, and it appears they're doing the same thing this year. I'm taking Texas A&M.
I'm going to take A&M as well. Butler and Houston, neutral site.
Houston.
Ohio State, Seton Hall, neutral site.
Ohio State.
I don't think Seton Hall can do it 2 games in a row. I'm going to take Ohio State.
I'm going to go Seton Hall because they beat Michigan. Arkansas and Kansas State, neutral site.
Arkansas.
You know, my guy Bruce Weber, people are saying this is probably his last year. They've only played one game so far. I don't know what he's doing, what their schedule's doing. They got a great game against Omaha tonight. I'm gonna roll with Kansas State with the upset here.
Nice. I'm going to take Arkansas.
You wonder why you're a million miles behind in the standings.
1 game behind because of the what's it called game.
Ferris State. Providence and Northwestern, neutral site.
Northwestern.
Well, if you remember last year, was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year. It was the year before, I think. Providence at Northwestern in the Gavitt games, and Northwestern blew them out. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even remotely close. And the same thing will happen. Providence is going to get killed by Northwestern.
And this is a game that I will be getting right here. I'm going to take Providence. Gonzaga, UCLA. Last game.
I think Gonzaga will win. But I think UCLA is a good matchup though, because I think unlike Texas, I think they actually have people who can somewhat make things a little bit more difficult on Drew Timme.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Gonzaga, but it'll be close. And who are they gonna keep it? What's gonna be the thing to stop Drew Timme?
Just get a big guy.
Cody Riley's like 6'9".
Miles Johnson.
Oh, I guess they do have Miles Johnson now. Yeah, Gonzaga will win the game. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, Tom, I know you're listening. Coach, how about you learn how to coach? I know we lost another recruit today to Illinois, so you're really struggling there. How about you? How about maybe going out there and coaching today? How about you coach well, get the win, and going to the Eastern game with some confidence, go into the tournament next week with some confidence. Come on, let's go. Enough with the fooling around here.
Okay. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Big Four podcast. We'll be back at some point with football. Thank you for listening.